What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Life Insurance Training Show. My name is Coulter. I'm your host, and today we're going to talk about issuance reviews. I'm going to let y'all in on a secret that will help you write double the life insurance premium in 2026. I'm not joking. I'm gonna go through the exact systematic play or process, or however you want to think through this, that you and your team can run to write more life insurance premium in 2026. And this play will give you another at bat to selling more life insurance. This play will increase your odds by 100% of writing more life insurance premium in 2026. And this play will allow you to generate your own life insurance referrals. It's crazy. So before we get into issuance reviews and what they are, I'm going to take you through my story and how issuance reviews became a thing for me. But, big picture here is when I started to have and hold issuance reviews with all of the life insurance policies that I wrote, I was able to take my life insurance premium from $35,000 to $100,000 and then to $151,000 in annual life insurance premium. And issuance reviews were a big player in my premium going up. And so here's what I ran into. My first 2 years in this business, I wrote maybe 10 life insurance policies a year. And I'll tell you, that was frustrating. It was discouraging. But at the end of the day, I just didn't have a systematic way to write life insurance. And the way that the industry had taught me to do it, it just wasn't working, right? Like, people came to me for auto insurance, they came to me for home insurance. And so trying to do a full life needs analysis when someone calls in to add a vehicle, or, trying to get people to come into my office to meet with me to talk about life insurance, it just wasn't happening. It wasn't working. And so I'm frustrated, I'm discouraged. Well, my third year, I had a breakthrough and ended up submitting. In fact, I issued 123 life insurance applications that year. And so to go from 10 to 123, that was awesome. I was proud of myself. That was a big deal. But the only problem that I was running into was that my premium for 123 policies I think maybe $35,000 in annual life premium. And so you can see the problem. The problem wasn't that I wasn't selling life insurance. The problem that was that I was selling smaller policies. But nonetheless, going into my fourth year, it was part of my plan to figure out how to sell more life insurance premium. And so I remember going into my fourth year thinking, what can I do? What is something that I can do consistently that would allow me to get more life insurance premium? And as I'm kind of thinking and planning for my fourth year and figuring out what I need to do to take things to the next level with premium, I kept thinking of what I had learned when I was a door-to-door salesman. And I had sales managers, I had mentors that had taught me and told me, look, Coulter, if they buy from you once, they will buy from you again. If they buy from you once, they will buy from you again. And that thought just kept coming back to me going in my fourth year. And I'm like, you know what? If people told me yes once to get life insurance, big or small death benefit, doesn't matter. If they told me yes once and we got them a policy in place, they will tell me yes again to maybe get more coverage. And so that was my thought. That was my theory. That was my, that's what I thought would be the case. Just because I had done it in door to door, and I mean, the principle runs true that when people buy from you once, they trust you. And so when you offer more, it's not that you're trying to sell yourself again, sell your company, sell your product. They already bought that. They're just saying more, yes to more of your product, more of the coverage. So anyways, I started holding issuance reviews, meaning I would write a life insurance policy, and part of my process became, at the issuance of that life insurance policy, I would just get in front of the customer again and offer them more coverage. And so I started calling customers after their policies would issue and essentially just saying like, hey, we've got 100,000 in coverage for you. We can actually get you 250,000, and because you already qualified. And the good news is it's this much more. And I had some people bite. Honestly, like just getting in front of people, I had people that would say like, okay, cool, like yeah, I'll do 250,000 in coverage, but I was running into a couple of problems that I didn't realize I would, and I want to walk through those with you, so you don't have to go through all of this to learn what I had to learn. You can just take it from me. So the first thing that I was running into with these issuance reviews was that I wasn't getting a whole lot of people to show up, right? Like I was just trying to get people to come into the office and agree to come into the office. And so a lot of people would push back and they're like, why do I need to come in the office? Like, didn't we already get this all taken care of? I also remember that I was very streamlined in my thinking and thinking that I want them in my office. I want butts in the chairs, because I know that when people come to the office, their guard comes down more. It's more of a commitment. And I feel like it just is better for a more comprehensive conversation like I'm trying to have with them. And so it was almost like I was streamlined. And, I got some people in the office. I got some people to do more coverage. They say yes to me again. But I wasn't having the success like I thought I would. And so, thinking about, well, if I can't get them in the office, sometimes it's like pulling teeth, right? Like we're trying to get people to do something that they don't want to do. And I think the industry's taught us that like we want butts in chairs, or we want to be at the dinner table with them in their home to be able to sell life insurance like we want. And that was sitting in my mind. And that's why I was trying to get people in the office. And that's why I was streamlined in my thinking. But I had a thought that, when I was having a difficult time getting people in the office, I was just thinking about how I would like to be sold to. And if I'm being honest, like if my insurance agent is just begging me to come into the office, I may push it off. I may not respond to them because I'm busy and I don't want to go into the office. But if my insurance agent said, hey, let's do a quick phone call, like that's much easier for me to do. And so I started to just basically offer people what they wanted, instead of trying to pull their teeth and get them to come into the office when I knew that they didn't want to, when I knew that they were busy, and when I knew it probably wouldn't work to get them to come in. I just said, you know what? If they decline me to come in, I'm going to try to get them on the phone. And I would do these over the phone, and it worked really well. Now, if you have the ability to do like a virtual review, definitely do a virtual review over a phone call. And if you have the opportunity to get people into the office, definitely get them into the office before you do virtual or a phone call. So that's the hierarchy for me, is let's try to get people in the office. That's ideal. If we can't, let's do something virtually. And if we can't even do that, then let's at least get them on the phone before we just send them the policy, or right after it issues, right? And so anyways, I started to meet people where they were, and instead of trying to get people to just come in the office, I started doing these over the phone, doing them virtually, and that worked. That worked really well for me to do more issuance reviews. Okay, so that was the first thing that I changed. Now, the second thing that I changed was at the initial close of the initial policy, I started to prep the customer for the issuance review. I started to set the expectation that when this policy issues, we need to meet for 5 to 10 minutes, make sure that beneficiaries are spelled correctly, make sure that this policy is set up how you want, and make sure it can do exactly what you want it to do. Because if beneficiary calls me to tell me that you're no longer around, we need to feel confident what we have set up. We need this to be able to help beneficiary and family in the way that you want to. So as soon as this thing processes, I'll shoot you a call, and I'll have you spend 5 to 10 minutes with me and make sure that it's set up exactly how you want. Sound good? So I started to set the expectation at the initial sell, and that absolutely changed the game for me as well. And people were now expecting my phone call. They now knew what was next. And it wasn't like I was catching people off guard. And so that upstream helped me with the overall review downstream. So that was the second thing that helped. Now, the third thing that I ran into was in these review appointments, really my whole goal was, hey, we've got this in place for you. We've got this $100,000 in coverage. We can get you more. Here's the option. What do you think? So it was very much just telling people we can get them more and giving them the option to move forward. And it worked. Like I said, it worked, but it didn't work as much as I thought it would. And as I started to evolve this issuance review, I realized that I was just giving people an offer to get more coverage, but I wasn't actually selling them on why that extra coverage would maybe make sense for them. I wasn't selling them. And so what I realized and was that I needed to start selling them more. And here's what changed the game for me is in this issuance review, I decided that my whole goal and the way I was going to sell people was to bring awareness to the bigger problem awareness. Because, yes, I had written a policy and they had said yes to some form of coverage. But in order for my extra coverage or more coverage to make sense for them, I needed to help them see the bigger gap that they still had. I needed to help them see that bigger exposure, the bigger picture that wasn't completely solved yet. And I found that, as I spent time in that issuance review, really focusing on bringing awareness to the bigger problem and helping the customer see the bigger problem rather than just culture telling them about the bigger problem, that's when I started to see more people opt to do more coverage. And so I share this with our group all the time, and this is the principle in action, but we want to be a problem finder first, then a problem solver, not a product pusher. All I was doing initially when I was just making an offer for people to get more coverage was I was just pushing the product. Hey, we can get you more coverage. This is how much it is. There was no reason that the customer saw as to why they would even care to have more coverage. Because in their mind, they're like, I'm much better off than I was before I had this policy. And you know what? $100,000 is a lot of money. And it is, but is it enough to actually do everything that the customer wants it to do? In a lot of cases, no. But I found that instead of just offering people and telling them, hey, we can get you more coverage, I found that it became much more effective in these reviews to focus on problem awareness, help them see the bigger problem and the severity of that problem. And when I would focus on this problem and I'd help the customer see it, there was this natural demand for the solution to get more coverage. It was awesome. And the fourth thing that I started to run into, because I realized that look, if I can just hold these reviews at the issuance of every life insurance policy, I'm going to write more life insurance premium. It's a given. It's the numbers alone say that I will be able to do that. And I did. But I also started thinking a little bit bigger. I'm thinking okay, how can I get things to the next level? And I knew that in every single one of these review appointments, it was an opportunity for me to also ask for and get referrals. But early on, it was a matter of remembering to do it. I'm sure you guys have been there where it's I want to ask for more referrals, but I've got so much going on that I kind of forget sometimes. And we've got so much going on. We're trying to do so much in this little review appointment that I just feel like by asking them for a referral, it's going to overwhelm them. So I was kind of going through a lot of that, but I realized that and knew that, hey, you're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table by not figuring out how to get referrals from these people. If they told you yes once and they bought from you and maybe they bought more from you in this issuance review, they're probably grateful for you. They're probably, wanting to share this with their friends and family. They probably have a natural desire to do that, right? It's the law of reciprocity. You help them and you help them see the bigger picture that maybe they weren't thinking about before. And you did it in such a way where no other insurance agent has ever done it in the way that you did. And they feel a certain type of way. They feel grateful. They are naturally going to want to help you in return. And so I want you to remember that. But instead of just, relying on trying to figure out exactly what the perfect way to ask for a referral, instead of trying to find the exact question or the exact phrase that's going to get you a lot of referrals, let's shift that focus to asking more than one time, making it a system for you, a process that, instead of just asking one time and hoping that the customer just is like, oh my gosh, my brother Timmy, or oh my word, my neighbor Susan. Instead of hoping that that's the case, because you guys know how it goes, right? If you've ever been asked for a referral, like you naturally want to give people referrals if they've helped you, but sometimes when they ask, you may not be able to think of someone right away. Even though there's someone, it's being put on the spot. Sometimes people freeze up, and in a lot of cases in these reviews, it's like they're kind of moving on to the next thing in their day. And so even though they want to give you a referral, it may not be the best time. And so why would we not want to have a couple more asks that we layer in after the appointment to remind the customer that, hey, I'm your guy. Send your people to me. Because guys, it's a matter of reminding our customers that we would love referrals rather than just asking one time. So I want you to think about that. Now, what I started to do was this, a simple 3-step process that allowed me to become consistent with asking for referrals and having a systematic way to actually get them consistently. And it was this, three asks for referrals. The first ask is going to be happening right after the actual issuance review. You're just going to simply ask them for a referral. And you could even just make a statement and say, hey, if you know anybody, any family members, friends, coworkers, neighbors, anybody that you feel like we could help in the same way that we helped you, send them my way. Like that could be as simple as it is, but that's ask number 1. Ask number 2 is going to be when the customer leaves or when the phone call is done, you're going to just send them a text message. And some of y'all are maybe sending emails after the appointment of like a recap email or maybe even their documents to their emails. You can still do that, but then just add in a text message and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I just sent you an email with your policy documents. And let me know if you need anything from me. It was a pleasure working with you today. Send another text that says, oh, and by the way, if you have any family members, friends, coworkers, neighbors, anybody that you feel like I could help with some life insurance, send them my way. Here's my contact information, Coulter, phone number. Boom, that's touch point number 2. And touch point number 3 is right after you send that text, you're going to pull out a thank you card and you're going to write the same thing that you did in text, right? You're going to write the same thing that you did in text, just thank them for their business, and you're going to slip 3 or 4 business cards into an envelope, and you're going to send it out to them, and that's not going to get to them for a couple of days, which is beautiful, because when they get it in the mail, I mean, it's going to be a pleasant surprise, number 1, but they're also going to be reminded that, hey, look, send me your people. And I'm telling you, like that, those things go a long way for people. And it's less about finding the perfect way to ask and more about having more touch points along the way. And so I started to incorporate all of these things. I started to pre-sell this review appointment at the initial sell of the first life insurance policy. Started to let them know that, hey, we're going to do this. I started to, kind of meet people where they wanted to be met, right? Like if they wanted to come in the office, awesome. If they didn't, maybe they want to do it virtually. And if not, maybe they just want to do it over the phone. I stopped trying to get people to do stuff they didn't want to do. The third thing that I did was I started to actually sell. I started to be very intentional with this review appointment with one end goal in mind, bring awareness to the bigger problem, to the bigger picture. Because I knew by doing that, it would create a natural demand for the solution. And then I found a way to make referrals consistent by having a consistent system that I could run that reminds people more than one time, but that also allowed me to consistently have a referral asking process in place with these review appointments. And I'm telling you, I started to get a lot of referrals from people too. And so at the end of the day, guys, these issuance reviews are so overlooked in the industry, but it goes back to the principle that if they tell you yes once, they will tell you yes again. And I'm telling you, if you make issuance reviews a point in 2026, every life insurance policy that y'all write, get in front of them, review the policy, show them why they might want more coverage, and give them an offer to move forward. I'm telling you, I'm very confident that you too can double, maybe even triple your life insurance premium, right? Because if I can go from $35,000 in premium in 1 year to the next doing $100,000 in life premium, to the next doing $151,000 in life insurance premium, then so can you. The way that we get there is with a systematic approach to getting in front of more people more often and being intentional with helping them see why they would want more coverage, why they would want to get a bigger death benefit, rather than just you tell them why they would need it or want it in that way. So guys, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want to do. Please, if you know, my only ask is to share this with your team, share this with an agency owner friend that wants to make life insurance a bigger focus in 2026, or maybe needs to make life insurance a bigger focus in 2026. Because guys, at the end of the day, some of y'all's carriers are changing the way that y'all get paid, and a lot of the renewal commissions are being dropped, and they're just raising the targets of what you need to do in new business. And a lot of y'all now have life insurance back into the equation. A lot of y'all are having higher targets to do in life insurance. And so pass this on to an agency owner, a friend, anyone that you feel like could benefit from this. And again, there's resources in the description. If you guys click into those, we've got a free live training that we'd love to have you in coming up this week. And it's all about how do we get our team selling life insurance. Click the link in the description for the registration link. We'd love to have you join us. And if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to see about getting your team life insurance sales training that's very much trigger based, that's something that fits inside their existing P&C workflows that they're already doing, that really just sets them up to bring life insurance into the conversation at the exact moments when people are most receptive to buying life insurance. If you want that type of a system in your agency, that your producers and your service staff, that they're running for you so you can hit your life insurance goals this year and make it automatic, click that link below. Let's jump on a call. And guys, appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.